Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on The Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. What are we all going to do when all these restrictions end and bosses want us to come back into the office to work? Are we all going to go back to work in offices, or is this hybrid environment going to stay around for a while? I want to introduce you tonight to Stephen Maloney. Steve Maloney is an inspiring creative motivator who walks his talk. He, since 1990, has been president of something called SP Maloney Corp, and he's been providing his clients, different companies, with unique tools and solutions that enable them to improve in all areas of human resource, HR performance management. He's written articles on leadership, on employee development that have been published in national magazines, Canadian Mining Journal, HR Professional, Municipal World Magazine, and Profits e-newsletter. Steve, welcome to the show. How are you?
Good, Brian. Thanks, and thanks for the opportunity to come in and talk to you about a subject that is changing by the day, that was actually going to change because of demographics. But like everything, COVID has expedited that issue.
So you think we're going to stay in a hybrid environment? We're not going to want to go back to offices?
I absolutely do. Anybody that's over 40 years old has said, hey, I kind of like working from home. It's I can be a little bit more productive. I don't mind leaving. I always did leave my phone on anyways. Now I don't have to make that annoying commute. Now I don't have to. I think I can actually be more productive as long as I have internet and phone, and I will travel. And I think a lot of people, and I think it's going to be particularly, I'm going to say that magic age will be somewhere around 45.
Why just people 40 and above? Why not everybody?
Well, I think
younger people want to go back to the office.
Yeah, I do. Actually, not necessarily they want to go back, but they need the structure an office environment gives them. Okay. And I am talking about my own sons who work in the banking industry, are 26 and 28. They do not have the personal discipline. They don't have the institutional hate of long commutes yet in their life. They have,
and they're living in 500 square foot condos downtown.
That's correct. District. What they want is they want the structure of a work environment and what they need, and many need. Once you get to an age of 40, 45, or even older people, they do not want to have to go. They can be just as productive. And all they really need is the internet connection. And I can tell you this, I was at a conference, an AMO conference, that's the Association of Municipalities of Ontario, back prior to COVID. And there was 2,000 people in the room, and the head table consisted of Doug Ford, Justin Trudeau, and about 6 or 7 senior MPs and MPPs of Ontario and Canada, obviously. And one of the CAOs got up and said, when are we going to make broadband an essential service? And so now you've got all these municipalities, there's 444 of them here in Ontario alone, who are rushing to create the infrastructure so that people can work from home. So I think
broadband has become essential in the last 2 years, that's for sure.
It absolutely has. There's a paradigm shift into the workforce. And I believe it was sort of going that way because of demographics. Older people, even aging baby boomers, still want to contribute. They still want to work. And as long as they have the skills, and a lot of them have knowledge, they have skills, they would prefer to do it from home. I am actually talking from personal experience. I have an office just off the QEW between the Burloak and Oakville, but I work out of my country retreat cottage on a small lake south of Collingwood. And I want to do that.
I was speaking to an urban designer who is one of the world's foremost city planners and believes fervently in the power of cities. Yet for the last 2 years, he's been doing Zoom calls with me from his boat out by the Thousand Islands.
That's right. It's going on all over the place. And the price of real estate, too, in smaller communities, we're just selling our childhood home, is going up exponentially. Small town real estate is booming.
Okay, but lots of people say from a creativity standpoint, from a collaboration standpoint, from a connections standpoint, from a mentoring standpoint, you've got to be in an office together. You can't build culture, people tell me, online. It's difficult to build organizational culture and teamwork through a Zoom link.
That's actually, I believe that to be a very, absolutely, that's a point. That is I'm not sure how it's going to level out in the future. I believe nothing's as good as a personal touch. Zoom calls, people are tired of them. People want the connection of people. But I think it's the ongoing thing. It's the 5 days a week. I'll be happy to come into the office 2 days a week. And maybe when organizations, larger companies are going to structure their interviews, or maybe they're kind of like team building type exercises or big, maybe they'll do it on like the Tuesday, Wednesdays. They probably won't be doing it on Fridays and Mondays anymore. And I think that's the way it's going to go. But I absolutely think the last 2 years during this COVID environment, people have said, you know what, I was getting tired of that commute.
So some bosses worry that, if you're at home, you're not productive. You're taking a break. You're walking your dog. You're teaching your kids school because the schools are closed, and you're not working for me. And so I want to see you in the office so I can ensure that you're working.
Valid point. Valid point. You know what? If you're in your pajamas, you probably end up sounding like you're in your pajamas on Zoom calls and on phone calls. So what it takes, and I've come up with a program that's, there's going to be a paradigm shift in how you work with your employees. And there's going to be certain skills that you want to actually teach your employees. Mm-hmm. Things like the number one and two skills that CEOs covet in their employees and their senior management is the competency of self-management. That's the number one. Yep. The number two is...
And yet so many managers are micromanagers. So they say they want the self-management, but then they micromanage.
Micromanagement is the biggest insult you can foist on a subordinate. It means, I don't trust you. Do it my way. And the number one, people don't quit companies, they quit bosses. Yep. And they quit micromanagers. It's the worst thing that a manager can do. So I think what companies are going to have to do is there's actually 10 skills that you need in order to thrive in a remote or a hybrid environment, and self-management, personal accountability. Let me give you a couple other ones.
Okay, well, we're going to come down to the whole list of 10 after the break.
Yeah.
But let's just, before we get to that, let me ask you a question. Do you think in this hybrid environment, we will be as creative, we will be as productive, we'll be as efficient as we are today? Or we have been prior to COVID?
Good question. I think that will evolve into a point where you actually become, again, this is a fairly new working model when you think of it. We weren't doing this 20 years ago. We weren't, we wanted to work from home, but the boss said, no, get in, here's your office. I want you there at 9:00, and even better yet, get there early. That's going to evolve. I can't, say that it's going to be perfect. What I can say, and I think I can say it with a fair degree of accuracy, is that the 5-day work week in the office is pretty much over for most people.
Well, some of you may like that, and some of you may not like that. And I think it comes down to those people that really want that personal interaction, and they miss the personal interaction. And I think the personal action, Steve, really does help from a creativity, collaboration standpoint, but it also sometimes wastes time. And I've noticed it when you come back into the office and you haven't seen some people, they want to come in and chat for a while. And you don't have that sort of chat time over Zoom as much. We're going to take a break for some messages and come back more with Stephen Maloney in just a minute. And we're going to talk through a whole sort of diagram he's going to show us, and we're going to walk through in things that managers need to achieve to be successful in this new hybrid environment. Stay with us, everybody.
अगर खुशियां गिनने का मीटर होता तो साफ दिख जाता सऊदी अरब वाले असगर भाई की इतनी, दुबई में सलमान और शाहिदा बाजी की इतनी, बर्तानिया से राशिद चचा और अमेरिका वाले आसिम साहब की ना सिर्फ इतनी खुशियां बढ़ चुकी हैं बल्कि बढ़ती ही जा रही हैं। इन सब के साथ साथ दीगर पाकिस्तानी भी ढेरों खुशियां समेट रहे हैं सोनी धरती रेमिटेंस प्रोग्राम के शानदार रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स के साथ। तो बैंक्स और एक्सचेंज कंपनी से रकम भेजते रहिए और हासिल करते रहें रिवॉर्ड पॉइंट्स के बदले फ्री सर्विसेज, इंटरनेशनल एयर टिकट्स, टैक्स और ड्यूटी पेमेंट्स, शिनाख्ती दस्तावेजात की रिन्यूअल, इंश्योरेंस पेमेंट्स, यूटिलिटी स्टोर से खरीदारी और बहुत सारी सहूलियात। आज ही सोनी धरती ऐप डाउनलोड कीजिए और रजिस्टर हो जाइए, क्योंकि आपके दम से ही है पाकिस्तान की तरक्की और खुशहाली। सोनी धरती रेमिटेंस प्रोग्राम, हमेशा अपनों के करीब। हुकूमत पाकिस्तान, स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान और मालियाती इदारों की जानिब से एक अहम कदम।
रोशन, तू फिर पाकिस्तान आ गया?
क्या करूं भाईजान, इधर के काम ही नहीं खत्म होते।
छोटा मुंह बड़ी बात करने लगा हूँ।
खैर ये तो आप तकल्लुफ ही कर रहे हैं।
बड़ी अहम बात है, गौर से सुन। दुबई वापस जाते ही ऑनलाइन रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट खुलवाओ।
ये जो बैंक ऑफ पंजाब ने शुरू किया हुआ है?
हाँ, स्टेट बैंक ऑफ पाकिस्तान की हदायत पर ओवरसीज पाकिस्तानियों के लिए सहूलत है। इधर देख, प्रदेश से घर के बिल अदा करने हो, पैसे भिजवाने हो, नया पाकिस्तान सर्टिफिकेट या स्टॉक मार्केट में सरमायाकारी करनी हो, गाड़ी निकलवानी हो, अपने घर के लिए कर्ज चाहिए हो, सब हो सकता है। इसके अलावा 24 घंटे ऑनलाइन बैंकिंग की सहूलत भी।
बस बस बस, मेरे सारे मसले हल हो गए। बस अब शादी रह गई।
तो आप अभी www.bop.com.pk विजिट करें और अपना रोशन डिजिटल अकाउंट बिल्कुल मुफ्त खुलवाएं। बैंक ऑफ पंजाब, रखे हर फर्द का ख्याल।
Discover the ultimate South Asian fashion at Tage. The most desirable wardrobe styling from famous Pakistani designers. One of the largest clothing stores in Toronto. Plan a visit today or shop online at dagefashions.com.
Come on in.
This is your new home, Mira.
परदेस चली एक नन्ही परी सहमी सी
Mira.
थोड़ी डरी खुशबू में घुला मिला कोई अपना नसीब से गिरूं सजदे अपने
Hey.
वहीद के। Would you like to try some?
पनीर बिरयानी फेवरेट।
Are you a real estate investor or corporate real estate agent? Did you know smart real estate investors and agents have been using a virtual real estate investment financial strategy to reduce and eliminate their personal, corporate, and estate taxes? Call and let me show you how.
Hi, I'm Brian Crombie, and we're going to be talking on The Brian Crombie Show. We're going to be talking about politics, arts, business, and social issues on The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. I'm chatting tonight with Steve Maloney. He's head of his own HR high performance consulting business, HR being human relations. And he's of the belief that we're going to stay, even post-COVID, in a more hybrid work environment, and that there are some key success factors that companies and managers need to have to be successful in that environment. And so it's going to be interesting to understand what that's all about. But Steve, before we get that, tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get into HR consulting?
I actually lost my job in 1990, and my boss was a very high stressful situation. Bad economy at the time. I was so stressed out. I says, I'm going on vacation. He said, stay on it. So what I did is I ended up going to getting some professional development for myself. The opportunity came after I started working on straight commission. The opportunity came up to own the company. Within 3 or 4 months, I owned the company, and I've been going at it ever since.
Awesome. And who do you work for? Who are your typical clients?
I've done a ton of work with government. Government is the biggest buyer of training services. I've also done a ton of work for construction companies. I've done a lot of work for automotive companies. I've done packaging companies. Anybody where they value their people. The number one motivator for employees, it's probably something that a lot of people don't know. What they want, the number one motivator for an employee is organizational progress.
Really? So
Yes.
it's not money. They just want to progress.
It's organization. They want somebody with a leadership. They want good leadership. People quit bad cultures. They don't and bad leaders.
Yep.
They don't quit companies. They want to be part of an organization that's going somewhere.
Where they can move
When you
ahead.
think about it, think of the stresses you had in your life and past jobs. The worst jobs you ever had were companies that were going down the tubes with no leadership. That's where you were caused stress. So organizational progress is the number one employee motivator.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Now, you wanted to take us through a graphic
Yes.
that has a bunch of, 10 different attributes?
It is what we like to do is plot. People have what we got a management wheel.
Okay.
There's 3 dimensions to communications: behaviors, that's how we do things; motivators, that's why we do things; and core competencies, that's what is under the hood. If I was to ask you, Brian, if we saw a red Corvette up there and I says, well, describe that in a few words, what would you say?
It's a red Corvette.
Yes, what will give you a couple of adjectives that you think?
It's sexy. It's cool.
Cool, sexy, fast, sleek. If we went to that red Corvette, popped the hood, and a pit crew had taken the engine out, would that red Corvette have the same meaning to you?
No.
No.
It's got to move.
So I think in a hybrid environment, management and managers within company need to understand how their employees tick. And they need to have, it's an intuitive skill. It's called emotional intelligence. From a distance, because I don't think all those people are coming back. Yes, some of them need it. Yes, organizations going to need to bring everybody in every so often, but it's not. I don't believe it's going to ever happen Monday to Friday like it used to be.
Okay. So go through some of these criteria.
Criteria is, other than the or personal accountability and self-management, I think job ethic is a huge one. We like to score our employees on job ethic. I'm a big sports guy. That's what I do in my spare time.
Yep.
There was a Toronto Maple Leaf here. He's off to Edmonton, a guy named Zach Hyman. The coaches loved him because he gave them everything. He gave it all on every shift.
Really?
What managers want to know is that when somebody's working in a hybrid environment from home, they want to know that the guy's not, or she is not sitting around in pajamas.
Right.
Or feeding the dog, taking the dog for a walk. They want to know that that person is going to give it, just like as if they were in the office. As a matter of fact, they probably get 2 extra hours of work because now the person doesn't have to commute.
Okay, so you've got some 21st century post-COVID management wheel.
Yes.
And one of them is analyzer. Precise, accurate, concern for quality, critical listener, nonverbal communicator, attention to detail.
Those are your accountants, your CFOs, your treasurers. Those are your planners. Those are people who look at everything. As a matter of fact, if I'm going to have somebody, a surgeon that's working on me, I want them to have those skills of the planner. I want to make sure they're using the right instrument before they cut.
And then you've got implementer, creative, slow start, fast finish, vacillating, temperamental.
I've got that one. Yes, they are quite often. They are the opposite of the accountant.
They're the creative advertising people.
They're creative advertising. They are categorized as quick starters. They like to change. They like to hand over the project after they get bored. Their attention span's not as good as other people's, but they are great starters. And you know what? Yeah, I want somebody to be. I want a bunch of creative people on my team.
Conductor, competitive, confrontational, direct, results-oriented, sense of urgency, change agent.
That's the person you give the baton to last in the relay race. There's 4 quadrants in
they'll finish it.
They'll finish it for you. And as a matter of fact, they will take the risk. They love life risk. They look at the world as winners and losers, and they want to. They'll risk being the goat to be the hero.
I'm a conductor. Okay, then persuader, process-oriented, quick to change, independent, optimistic.
Which you certainly want a lot of those are your people, your salespeople.
Yep. Okay.
Sometimes they can be too optimistic. Their actuals never meet their forecasts, but you do want people who. We live in a changing world right now. It's probably more so than any time. COVID's been part of that, obviously. I want people that are optimistic around me. There's been a lot of sadness, and I want to be around up people with new ideas.
Promoter, high trust level, not fearful of change, contactability, rather talk than listen, verbal skills, project self-confidence.
Those are your HR types. They have, they're kind of, they're good for team building.
Yep.
They're good for cohesion.
Rather talk than listen, HR types?
That may be having, let me see, where do we have them on the DISC? That's the I. Okay, yes.
So the VP sales is what you got here.
Yes, that's VP sales. Yes, VP sales, they are very persuasive type people.
Relator, good supporter, team player,
that's
persistent,
your HR,
cooperative, sensitive. No, this is
that's your HR.
The chief marketing officer.
Chief marketing officer too. Marketing is not necessarily in sales, but they support sales.
Okay.
They are the person right underneath sales. They give the baton to the salespeople.
Then you've got your HR person being called a supporter.
Yes.
Who's accommodating, dislikes confrontation, persistent, controls emotion, adaptable, good listener.
Yes. I should say that this is a general characteristic. Doesn't mean every HR person's like that.
Yep.
I've dealt with HR people that aren't like that at all. But most of them are quite supportive. That's just the nature of that role.
And then the last one you've got, the CFO, is the coordinator, and you describe as product-oriented, slower to change, self-disciplined, and skeptical.
They have to be. That's just the nature of their job. They have to be, don't tell me, but show me. They traditionally butt heads with sales.
And this SICD
DISC,
wheel.
it's DISC. It's actually
DISC.
DISC. D stands for driver. Those.
Okay.
I stands for influencer. Those
Okay.
are your VP sales.
Okay.
S stands for supportive type people, and they're
Right.
usually back office support type roles. And C is cognitive. Those are your analytical people.
And so the idea here is what? To try to figure out what your skills are, what you like?
The idea is to know your team that you're managing. We all want to be understood. We kind of covered that already. People want to be understood in every relationship, particularly in their work. They're unhappiest when they don't feel their boss understands them at all.
You said something about that there's 3 dimensions needed to achieve optimal company communications.
Right.
What are they?
First dimension is behavior. It's how people will act in a job.
Mm-hmm.
You get people that are people-oriented. You get people that are task-oriented. Actually, behavior is done by 2 things. It's your level of 2 things. Your level of sociability. That's your ability to promote other people's ideas. And your level of assertiveness. That's your ability to promote your own ideas. People are all different shapes and types, but sometimes you require. I do a lot of work for a construction industry.
Mm-hmm.
That is a kick backside industry.
Yep.
Most people are those high D personalities that are constantly fighting with sub-trades and things like that, and that's what they do all day long.
All day long.
And the slow-moving type person gets just mowed over. And that's so that's the first. The second thing is motivator. Why people act the way they do. What are they motivated? There's a fellow named Edward Spranger. He wrote a book in the early 1900s. It's called What Motivates Men. And there's 6 motivators in life. First one is utilitarian. That's the risk or the motivator. What's in it for me?
Yep.
Sociability. What's in it for others? Theoretical is I want to understand. I'm motivated by how things work. Mm-hmm. Aesthetic. I'm motivated by how things look. I'm motivated by beauty, form, and harmony. Another one is the 6th most popular, the least motivated is the traditional. I am motivated by following systems and beliefs. It's by far the number 6 in Canada. In the Bible Belt in the States, it's the highest one.
Really?
Yes. So politics knows this. So the second on company dimensions is the why.
Yep.
What motivates people. In companies, particularly when you're working from 100 kilometers away, I want to know what my staff are thinking.
So given this new hybrid environment that you think is going to exist and these comments you've made about understanding your team and understanding motivation, are you optimistic or pessimistic about the next couple of years in management of employees?
I'm a natural optimist by trade. Sometimes maybe too optimistic, but that's
the salesman.
That's the salesman in me. I am optimistic that what I am saying is that we're going into a profound period of change.
Right.
And so companies are really going to more than ever have to reach out, understand who they want. We did a survey with law firms. There was 100 law firms here in Ontario. And we asked them what was and they says, and I said, you know, what's one of the problems? He said, we don't have problems. She said, 2 years ago, we took the time to define our culture. And now what we do is we hire culture fits. And the problems we used to have
Gone
are
away.
no longer there.
So hire people to fit the culture.
Hire people to fit the culture. And
Steve, if people want to follow you,
I'm best reached on LinkedIn, Steve Maloney. I've thousands of people that I contact through LinkedIn. spmaloneycorp.com is my website. And I am there to answer questions and to make companies most efficient as possible. Companies are defined by the people that work for them and the people that lead them.
thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Okay, appreciate it.
Companies are defined by the people that join them and the people that leave them. That's interesting. And Steve also said that people don't quit companies, they quit bosses. And that I love the other line you made about micromanagement is the biggest insult you can make to an employee because it means that you don't trust them. Some interesting tidbits there. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks.
That's our show for tonight, everybody. Thanks for joining us. That's Brian Crombie for The Brian Crombie Show on Canada One TV. Good night, everybody.